From trade truces to tariff battles, visa shakeups to a federal police takeover, Washington is making headlines at home and abroad. Trump buys 90 more days of peace with Beijing, but doubles down on India with 50% tariffs, prompting Delhi to redraw its export map while keeping defense ties intact. Silicon Valley braces for an H-1B rule change that could send thousands of tech workers packing. And the U.S. Capitol sees the National Guard roll in under Trump's direct control. It's a day of deals, disputes, and deep shifts in power. Good morning. Welcome to Top of the Morning by Mint, your daily shot of sharp business intel, global trends, and market movers. It's Tuesday, August 12th. I'm Nelson John. Let's get right in. U.S. President Donald Trump has extended the trade truce with China for another 90 days, pushing back the risk of a fresh tariff war between the world's two largest economies. In a Truth Social post, Trump said he signed an executive order keeping the tariff suspension in place while leaving all other terms unchanged. The extension prevents U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports from jumping beyond the already steep 30% rate and stops Beijing from raising its retaliatory duties. China quickly confirmed it will match the move. State media Xinhua reported that Beijing will maintain its own tariff freeze, keeping duties at 10% for the next 3 months, and will hold off another non-tariff measure under a joint declaration signed earlier in Geneva. The extension follows tense negotiations in Stockholm, where both sides sought to avoid escalating a trade standoff that has already rattled markets and disputed global supply chains. Without this deal, the tariff hikes would have kicked in just after midnight on August 12th. For now, the truce buys time, but it also sets up another high-stakes deadline before the year end. Starting September 2nd, 2025, the U.S. State Department will reinstate mandatory in-person interviews for all non-immigrant visa renewals, including H-1B holders. That means thousands of tech workers, many from India and China, will have to return to their home countries for visa renewals, disrupting workflows in the heart of America's tech economy. Silicon Valley, which ranks second nationwide for H-1B approvals, will feel the hit hardest. In 2024 alone, more than 39,000 newly approved H-1B workers were based there, nearly all in critical roles at companies like Google, Meta, and Apple. Immigration experts warn the rule change will cause delays, extra costs, and work disruptions. Families will have to travel too, with exceptions only for children under 14 and seniors over 79. They may be stuck, for example, in India or China, and won't be able to get back to work, said Bill Hing of the University of San Francisco. The Bay Area's tech sector, heavily reliant on foreign talent, could face significant operational strain. H-1B visas are typically issued for 3 years and can be renewed for another 3. Now, each renewal will mean a trip abroad, something immigration lawyers say will be both time-consuming and risky for employers and workers alike. In a rare and controversial move, U.S. President Donald Trump is invoking the District of Columbia Home Rule Act to place the D.C. Metropolitan Police under direct federal control. He's also deploying National Guard troops to re-establish law, order, and public safety in the capital, saying they'll operate without restrictions. Flanked by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who will oversee the police takeover, Trump claimed Washington has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals. The National Guard will handle logistics, transport, and support freeing local police for arrests, mirroring Trump's earlier deployment in Los Angeles during immigration raids. The focus, he says, is tackling violent crime and homelessness. The law gives Washington's 700,000 residents the right to elect local leaders, but allows the president to temporarily seize control in emergencies. DC's mayor has voiced alarm at the idea of guard patrols. Trump's announcement follows a surge of federal agents from the FBI, ICE, DEA, and ATF already moving through the city. Ahead of the move, Trump posted that D.C. would be liberated today and vowed to end the days of ruthless killing or hurting innocent people. Facing steep 50% U.S. tariffs on key goods, India's Commerce Ministry is fast-tracking a plan to diversify exports across 50 priority markets. These countries, spanning the Middle East, Africa, Latin America, Europe, and Asia, account for nearly 90% of India's outbound shipments. The move targets sectors hard hit by the U.S. duties that include textiles, gems and jewelry, engineering goods, leather, seafood, agriculture, and some chemicals, some of which could see exports drop by up to 40% if no action is taken. Officials are mapping product-specific opportunities and pushing for faster trade facilitation to redirect goods to alternative buyers. Engineering goods could find new homes in Croatia, Greece, Norway, Myanmar, and Azerbaijan, while agricultural and processed foods could be headed to Nigeria, Brazil, Canada, and Egypt. The government is also considering financial relief, potentially reviving the interest equalization scheme to cut borrowing costs funded by a new 20,000 crore rupee export promotion mission. In FY25, India shipped $86.5 billion worth of goods to the US, about 20% of total exports, making Washington India's largest single export market. But with tariffs now doubling from 25 to 50 for many products, exporters are racing to secure new orders from UK, Australia, Canada, Africa, and Latin America. For Delhi, the message is clear: reduce US dependence, protect jobs, and cushion the blow from an escalating trade fight. India will not pause defense deals with the US despite Washington's decision to double tariffs on Indian goods, Vikram Misri told Parliament's External Affairs panel. He stressed the multidimensional nature of Indo-US ties, saying trade is just one part of the relationship. The assurance came in the first official briefing since President Donald Trump announced an additional 25% duty, punishing India for continuing Russian oil purchase. The new rates will take effect August 27th. Commerce Secretary Sunil Bhartwal also told lawmakers the sixth round of trade talks with the US is still scheduled for New Delhi, and Washington has not called them off. India is also accelerating its export diversification strategy, leveraging existing trade pacts with UAE, Australia, ASEAN, Japan, South Korea, and Mauritius, while pushing to conclude negotiations with the EU and roll out the UK FTA once finalized. Misri also addressed Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir's remarks in the US on the Indus River, which India dismissed as routine saber-rattling. He highlighted US cooperation on security from extraditing 2611 accused Tahavur Rana to designating the Resistance Front as a terror group after the Pahalgam attack. Committee Chair Shashi Tharoor said members left reassured that the government is actively managing both the tariff dispute and the broader strategic partnership with Washington. That's all for today. Thank you for joining in. We are eagerly looking forward to our next Top of the Morning episode, which will be packed with the latest news. Until then, this is Nelson John signing off. Have a great day.